Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. Yeah, we got all four of us here. Gerry, Max, Edward and David, and the bear. The bear is behind me still, okay? So, we have decided that we are going to talk a little bit about these recent rumors. Earlier in the week, some stuff hit one of the publications that said Allardyce and Walsh are going to be leaving at the end of the season. I'm guessing that's early May. So there's that rumor. Then there's another rumor that said Marcel from PSV is incoming. It's going to happen. So, of course, Brons came out the past 2 days and commented on his future. Said, yeah, there's been some contact, but I feel it'd be really tough to leave this place. I haven't made a decision yet. But he didn't say no, did he? Never has he said no, and I found that interesting, just saying. Lastly, there is something about the possibility of Mino Raiola functioning as an advisor of sorts for Everton moving forward, which is interesting because I didn't know he knew anything. I thought the only thing he saw was green. Yeah. So, be interesting how that plays out. I have no idea how that relationship would really work.
Gerry, are you making an allegation behind that statement there?
I am saying...
Could you clarify for the audience?
I think he doesn't take normal baths like you and I. I think he takes a bath in a pile of cash.
I mean, he does do a lot of expensive transfers, we must admit.
So how will the Mino Raiola thing work? We don't know. And one last additional connection. Supposedly... Moshiri has gotten with Jorge Mendes and said, hey, I want one of your managers, Fonseca or Silva. Interesting, because he represents both of those. So it appears as though if all things go to plan for Moshiri, it's a situation where we may have Mendes and Raiola and connections there helping us get transfers and all that kind of stuff. Similar to
Isn't Mendes the agent of Ronaldo?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
He's a Portuguese agent, and he's the one. Mendes has that relationship with Wolves, and that everybody says that's one of the reasons that why they're just blowing up now. So yeah, taking all of that stuff into account, all right. How much do you think is actually true? What do you think will actually happen? And how optimistic would you be about those moves moving forward? Okay, so. I have to start with somebody, and since David was last time, let us start with him. How much do you think of all that stuff I just said is actually true, and what do you think is actually going to happen?
I wish I would have listened now, to be honest. No, I'm only messing. The Raiola one is so strange for me because I think to what capacity could a player, a super agent, because he's not just an agent, he's a super agent, isn't he, really? So what capacity could he be involved with a Premier League football club? Because that stinks right off the bat there. And I think about that, you touched on the Wolves connection. There's something not quite right about all that. And, the EFL have got involved in that over the past few months, and it just doesn't sit right. I suppose it's working, but I'm just not convinced how much of a role these agents could actually play in terms of advising the club. Whether it's all just a roundabout way of getting in bed with them so we can get their personnel, it probably sounds about right. If the deal suits both parties, I'm happy with it. I don't particularly like them, especially Raiola, because he is the most obvious money grabber out there. But if there's a way we can benefit from it, then fine. But we need to make sure that we are benefiting from any deals that are made. In terms of what's his name from PSV? How'd you say his name?
Marcel, I believe.
Brons, yeah. Well, he obviously he's been successful at PSV. They just won the league, haven't they? But I don't know. I'm not convinced by this director of football role. I don't know. Maybe Steve Walsh has just ruined it for me. I'm not convinced by the whole structure. I think it works very well in some levels around Europe, but I don't know. I don't know where to stand on that one.
Max, it is your turn. All right. What do you think about all this stuff? How much do you think is true? What do you think will actually happen? And what's your optimism meter? Where does it stand?
I take into consideration how cautious David is about the whole Raiola and George Mendes scenario. But I think, as Dave said, they very much are super agents, and they are people in the world of football that they transcend the game and make the media. And in my personal opinion, I think that will do the profile of the club and the name Everton Football Club. I really do think that would do us favours. We know the type of names that those two are associated with, and I think it's the phrase that Gerry uses every single time. Farhad Mashiri's sexy name, isn't it? He goes after these sexy names in the world of football, and I think it's absolutely fantastic for the profile of the club. To what extent do we believe that they'll actually come off? I think that, of course, you need to be cautious because we're Everton. And
I suppose going off Mac's point there is, I'm thinking an ethical basis where the question mark's in, but then you forget that we're talking about probably one of the most unethical sports in the world. Yeah. So I suppose.
What are you trying to infer there, David?
Are we talking about one of the most unethical sports in the world?
Yeah.
Edward, what are you thinking?
Marcel Brands, if he did come in, I don't know. We did all right with transfers beforehand, before the whole director of football thing even happened. So whether we go back to that, I don't know for sure. As for the whole thing with Sam Allardyce and Steve Walsh, I kind of do hope it happens. As with Mino Raiola, to be honest, if we're getting the decent players with Raiola, then I'll let it slide. But I don't like any kind of business that we've done with him at all, because it normally just ends bad for us.
Just on the Steve Walsh Allardyce director of football situation, I know David criticised the structure that comes along with that. I feel it very much is a European continental approach, and obviously, of course, with the rumours that Alston's going to rugby league, I feel like we're crawling in the right direction, I think is the right phrase. I am a fan of it because I've seen plenty of examples in Europe of it being a successful model, and I feel definitely if as we say, if Fonseca or Silva comes in, a European manager and a European director of football, it gives us this very European feel, and I think it's an approach that just we haven't had at Everton. We've seen it happen at all these other football clubs in the Premier League around us, and I feel if this approach was to be implemented on Everton, I feel it'd be a right step in the project, because we very much are a project club at the minute, as I've said in the past, and I feel like that is a step in the right direction. Last summer and this season, we've made plenty of mistakes, and I think this is an attempt at learning from that by taking a completely different approach.
Yeah, I think if we are going down this route, director of football, we just have to continue to be patient. I mean, I think we have to expect growing pains. It's just going to happen. We got to learn, and I think we've already learned some this season, that you don't appoint for your first time a director of football who's never been a director of football. I think that's lesson one we learned this season, I actually don't want Walsh gone. I'd like him to stay on as a scout. I think he does have an eye for players. I think he has guided us to some players we wouldn't have necessarily considered. But I think he needs a filter. And I think
any good ones?
I think Jink Tosin plays well. I think just a game.
Yeah, I think Tosin, but I feel like that was Allardyce's influence, to be honest.
No, I think that was Mashiri. Apparently he watched him all the time.
From what I've heard is all three of them watched him at one point or another. You know what I mean? And I think behind the scenes, I think each one is trying to take credit for it. But
Yeah.
But hasn't Tosin actually come out and said that Allardyce tried to bring him and
no,
wanted him to
he
come
did
to
call him
Palace?
beforehand, but it was during that. Oh yeah, he did supposedly.
Yeah, so for me, there's the first contact because obviously Walsh was at Leicester.
Leicester.
I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with you, David, and say it probably was Allardyce now, because
Yeah,
that's the
it's
only
not
tangible
that-
proof we have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I just feel like the play, it's we're not going off the hearsay of either one of them. We're talking about the player said, and he was the one that refers to Allardyce. And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to pick holes in Walsh because, like everyone else, I've kind of had enough of him. But yeah, I'll be careful what I say actually because you never know who you're going to end up in a room with. So
Yeah. See, I don't mind Walsh so much. I do think there's something good there. I think he's had an eye for talent in the past. I think he's done well helping to identify some young players, maybe.
Yeah, I think that comes along with, his role as a scout. As you say, Gerry, I think he's very qualified and adequate at doing his job as a scout, and very exceptional at that. Obviously, as you say, first time in the job as a director of football, and the first time that football club has had a director of football. Obviously, you're going to have weight on your shoulders and responsibilities that you're not quite used to. And as you say, it's going to come with growing pains. And if he is to stay on, I wouldn't take a large issue with that, because as he said, he brought in some plenty good players at Leicester.
See, if we had brought him in as a scout last year, we would have been psyched. Because he's the guy that found all these players. So that's I'm trying to think about it like that, because he won't be the one in charge at that point then, right?
Yeah. To be fair, actually, some of the signings he has made have worked out well, but I'll just raise one last issue with it. What does the director of football actually do?
So let's figure out this let's figure out the nice way to say this.
I really have to watch that back.
So I mean, no, he's got a really good point though. It actually is a good question.
Oh no, I wasn't. I wasn't so much. I wasn't actually laughing at you, Edward. I was just laughing at the go.
Our reaction was like, how do we actually word this? You know what I mean? Because I think we all have asked that question before.
Yeah.
It functions for me. It's like a general manager for a pro team here in the States.
I think the reason why I think that a director of football would be a great thing to happen for Everton is that obviously from the man, for many years, particularly under David Moyes, the next one up, so to speak, from David Moyes would be the board, would be Kenwright, would be Elstone, and as we know, their areas of specialty do not lie in football. So to have someone there, I think we were heavily linked with Mark Overmars, and that was a name that I got really excited about because the profile of the man and how he knows the business. It's just someone that operates within the world of football and handles the football and aspects of things, identifies what the team needs and where the team needs to improve. So I feel like having a man who can do that. Go on.
I was going to say what Max said. I thought that he's answering that very well, so I'm just going to jump on that and let him take all the credit for that.
Typically, someone in that position works with a manager toward bringing in players.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Like,
also, though, they focus on candidates for manager as well, though.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's football and operations, basically.
Personnel, football and personnel, Yeah. So about the Mino Raiola thing and the Mendes connection, okay? I think it's another instance where I think Mashiri's trying to learn from last year. I think he's pissed off that we haven't been able to lock down some of these deals, some of them taken forever. I think he finds it embarrassing because you know what? I do too.
Yeah.
That sucks. So I think he's trying to figure out any way I think he's getting sick of a big talent saying no to us, or we have this ridiculous back and forth when it comes to negotiation. So I think I actually am in favor of it, and I hate saying that because I'm not a Raiola fan at all. Who
is?
Well,
yeah. The bank.
I think his players that he represents are probably, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He gets his players big moves usually. So so yeah, I like these moves. I think if Bronze comes in, Raiola comes in, and if one of Mendez's managers comes in, I think it can only help the club. You know,
I agree.
When David mentions the ethical stuff, I'm scared because I don't know what they would bring as far as, what other dark secrets they bring, in with them.
Yeah.
That
that is the only thing you're jumping in with the devil a little bit, aren't you? But as I said, it's an unethical game these days. So
yeah.
The hope is, we've got a pretty ethical foundation at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
I hope. Let's be honest, I don't really know. So
neither do I. I don't think any four of us know anything about anything. So
no, we're
all just rambling.
They're opinions. They're opinions.
Yeah.
Just like your arseholes. Everybody's got one. So, guys, deal with that. So anyway, anything else about this, guys? About these possible moves?
Nope.
Yeah, we're conflicted, but it does appear that Everton appears to have learned from last year, which is great.
Mm.
So
once,
yeah, a lesson. It's great.
Season's not all bad, boys.
I hate thinking about it like that. This season was a wash because we just learned stuff. I guess that's it for Allardyce, Walsh, Bronze, Raiola. What will become of us? If you like our videos, please subscribe. That would be great. We also have a caption contest going. All right. Here's the image. There it is. It's our esteemed manager, guys. Do any of you have any of your possible? Any of you have any captions you want to share?
When Lochman scores in Germany again.
That's good. I like that. Earlier I was thinking I'm not going to say mine because I didn't want to take somebody's. And I'm pretty certain Max just robbed about 5 people's. That's a good one.
I've got one.
Sorry.
When you realise it's not just a minority.
That works.
Yeah.
So mine is
Boom.
mine is come on, Kuko, I'll give you a ride out of here. I just like the idea of Kuko Martina riding Sam's back.
Yeah.
That's just I just like that because he's been carrying him for a while now. Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
All right. So that's it. You know what? If you don't like him, beat it. Make yours more awesomer. Yeah, I know that's not a word.
He doesn't mean leave, by the way. He means actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah, not beat it.
And don't beat it off either.
Oh.
Idiot.
You know what? That's your prerogative. What you do in your home. Just saying.
Yeah, well, unless you want to, but I don't know if the four of us are gonna wear. Well, maybe do.
I have no idea if this is staying in, but it's funny. All right. So,
I know it's not staying in.
I don't know. I may do it. It's just so funny. All right. So you can leave your captions down there in the comments. So yeah, I guess that's it. David, who just capped us off with a nice gross ending. Max, Edward, guys, thanks so much. I'm Gerry, and we are out. Bye.